just a quick little thing before we move into round 5 of the season.
Anyway.
The support so far on this series has been absolutely phenomenal. So if we can hit 100 likes on this video, I will try to get Monaco out over the course of this evening. The first time I'm ever trying to do sort of a like target on a video on the whole. I want to see what the support is like, what the engagement is like from you guys with it. But the Spanish Grand Prix obviously going live now, the second video of the day. As I said, 100 likes and I will upload Monaco this evening. Hello everyone and welcome back guys to episode 5 of my F1 2018 Williams Road to Glory career mode. If you are new around here guys, I would really appreciate if you did hit that subscribe button. At the time of recording this, we're about 80 subscribers away from hitting 7,000 subscribers. So obviously I really appreciate the support. But this is actually a tiny bit of footage from Baku, which I unfortunately didn't include. We actually got the team goal of the 400 R&D points qualifying bonus, but that wasn't sort of the main thing that I really sort of wanted to talk about from that race. If you did miss out Baku though, obviously it did go out this morning. Really trying to smash out these episodes. So obviously if you want to go check that out, I would highly recommend going back and doing so.
The more ambitiously we set our targets, the more willing the team will be to give us better perks. We'll have a few chances to suggest a deal, but we need to be careful. If a proposed contract exceeds your value to the team, it will be rejected, and too many attempts will leave us stuck with the original offer.
So here we are then. We're actually going to try for the first time a new contract in this Formula 1 career mode. We're going to try and go with a level 1, 25% resources, a minor upgrade reduced by 1 week, 2 upgrades per department, I really wanted that, and then a level 1, 10% quicker pit stops as well. We've got 3, obviously, attempts to do this, and we'll give this the first go.
They didn't like those terms. Let's try again.
Clearly Williams not such a fan of my aims to try and build this team up a little bit better, so the least important there was the pit stop efficiency. Will it work second time round?
Our proposal has been accepted.
Yes,
it will. The new contract will take effect from the next race weekend.
So really looking forward to that, obviously. Probably the first video, I think, of actually doing a contract on this game so far. So now we get 25% resource points bonus, minor upgrade time is reduced by 1 week, both of those really ideal. 2 upgrades per department means now we can try and upgrade more and more parts to the car as soon as we can, and whilst we're doing that, we might as well try and get one more upgrade on the car as we move into round 5 of the season at the Spanish Grand Prix. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually look like we're going to be able to really do many, so we might just try and have to go for one of the quality control upgrades, 600 R&D points. I think that is probably going to be the safest option there. So we reduce the failure chance and also reduce the cost of the upgrades. And yeah, that seems like probably the best decision to make at this early stage of the season. Still really trying to up this Williams car. And let's move on then into the Spanish Grand Prix. So yeah, moving on into Spain then. This is going to be a testing race for the car, I can tell, Baku last time out was actually a really well, until it all went wrong, it was actually a very strong showing for ourselves, but Spain will not suit this car handling-wise. It's not particularly good on turn-in, so Spain, Monaco, both going to be two probably two really tough testing races on the whole.
Okay, we had the new parts come through from the factory. We'll get them on the car ahead of FP1.
So new parts as well coming onto the car. Obviously really good that we're still piling on the upgrades for this Williams car. We're slowly but surely getting out. We've got to complete 6 practice programs over the next few Grand Prix as well, which gives us a 500 R&D point bonus, which I will certainly take if I'm able to do that. So we'll try and do 3 practice programs over each weekend there, and that'll hopefully, yeah, as I said, give us the 500 R&D. The engine power, the crankshaft, as well as the weight reduction rear floor under tray have both been completed as well, which means the car will be a tiny bit quicker, and then also, a tiny bit lighter and more stable as well. In terms of the race, though, it's going to be a completely dry race, but it is going to be mixed conditions in qualifying there. And I will say now, free practice is pretty much going to be a lake in the early stages of the session there. So we'll move into free practice then. Not going to bother with sort of the practice animations there. As we come through towards the end of my track climatization lap, though, you can see pretty much a lake, this Spanish Grand Prix circuit at the moment. Out of the final corner though, and down towards the line. It's been a pretty good lap on the whole. 4 green targets, and it will actually be the purple score overall there. Only just 10 points in it at the end there, so very happy with that. And then moving on to the ERS management, we were able to get the purple score on that. Actually, overall, the wet conditions did feel fairly decent for this Williams car. Very wet conditions on the whole. I was able to modulate the throttle quite well, and as we slowly got into a bit more of a dry session, the car became a little bit harder to handle. But towards the end then of the session, you see, it actually did dry it just a bit, and we were doing a good fuel-saving run as we come out of the final corner, and it is going to be the purple score there. So the 3 targets that I set, I needed to do 3 practice programs this week, and next time out, we've been able to achieve both of those. But yeah, having a look then overall at the end of the session there, a huge amount of R&D points to claim, obviously in quite a few different sectors as well. So it's going to be 352 points, takes us up to 456, so hopefully another upgrade will go on the car before the end of this race weekend. But let's move on then into qualifying.
Here we are at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya for the start of today's qualifying session. It won't be long now until we're ready to join the action down at trackside. And as we count down to that green light, I have to say, Anthony Davidson, that this rain is not showing any signs whatsoever of abating. I imagine we'll be looking at some last-minute setup changes to better adapt these cars to the conditions. What do you think?
The trouble is, Crofty, they need to be thinking about the race tomorrow. You don't want to go jacking up the ride heights and piling on a few points of extra downforce that you're not going to want in the Grand Prix itself. The Parc Fermé regulations mean that you have to make that choice. The best thing the drivers can do is adapt with the tools they have available in the cockpit. Moving the brake bias forward will help stop the rear end slipping out under braking, and opening up the differential can really help tame the oversteer on corner exit. The drivers that can make best use of these techniques will have the best chance for success here today.
So moving into qualifying then, and actually a fuel system fault on the car there. Very, very rare we see, very, very rare we see things like that. But yeah, 6-minute repair time there, unfortunately, is going to limit my running in Q1 there, as you can see. Actually, it's going to get drier towards the end of the session, so it's really looking almost a bit irrelevant to go out in the early stages of the session. There's no real point in sort of learning early braking points for corners. So what we're going to do then is we're going to take a bit of a gamble here and go out right at the end of the session. As you can see, just over 1.5 minutes to go of qualifying here for the Spanish Grand Prix. We're just going to go for one flying lap here and just hope that it does pay off. And overall, the grip was actually all right. As you can see now, though, just making one huge mistake as we come out through Sector 2 there. And it's going to be very, very close if we're going to be able to make it out into Q2. These wet conditions are probably the best shot we've got of having a good qualifying session here. So I'll have to wait and see about that braking now down in towards the hairpin here as we come into Sector 3. Just over 2 seconds off pole position so far, but still one more sector to go. Probably my strongest sector of this circuit, though. We weren't really losing too much time to a lot of the AI as we came through this final sector of the lap. But yeah, as I said, a bit of a gamble here in the Spanish Grand Prix circuit. We are only going to be able to have time to do one run, though, and as we come out down around the final corner here, what position are we going to be? Are we going to be able to make it into Q2 for the second time in a row? No, we're not. It is going to be last on the grid for the Spanish Grand Prix there. Absolutely, well, quite surprised, in all honesty, that we were that far off the pace in the end. I really, really felt we did have a bit more performance in the car, but we're running a slightly worn engine and we only were able to do one lap, and obviously that fuel fault did knock us back a little bit as well there. So still only less than 4/10 off my teammate after qualifying there, which I think we'll certainly take with all the issues we had. But that was certainly not the qualifying session I wanted there. Really, really, yeah, as I said, quite surprised that we were that far off the pace, and I really did think we were going to be able to get all the way into Q2, potentially, cause a bit of an upset for the drivers around us there. But having a look at the rivalry breakdown, where we pull out another another point even over Lance Stroll. We're nearly up to the full 30 there. That will give us the 25 potential respect points as well, which is really, really good to see. Slowly but surely moving my way up the Formula 1 ladder on the whole. But yeah, P20 on the grid, 4/10 off Stroll. Obviously, I think the only other time we were behind our teammates so far this season was actually at Bahrain, which obviously the car really, really did struggle at. I'm still not sure what actually went wrong at Bahrain there, but only 88 R&D points there. Will mean, though, we're able to get another upgrade on the car before we move into this race. But having a look then.
Obviously, I expected
certainly, there were certainly a couple of small errors in there, but we're actually going to develop another part on the chassis then, really, really trying to focus on these chassis upgrades. I did consider doing one of the quality control upgrades again, but they are getting a little bit too expensive at the moment. We just want to try and get raw upgrades on the car rather than all these sorts of things in the early stages of the season. So we'll probably go with the energy store cells positioning. 530 R&D points there. We will certainly take that as we move into the Spanish Grand Prix.
Good afternoon from a very familiar setting. It's race day here in Spain, and with everything still to play for in the championship battle, there's no room for mistakes in a Grand Prix that's well known for creating them. The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya then, a high-speed 2.89-mile circuit which demands an efficient downforce package and bravery on the part of the driver, especially through the blind right of turn 9, which we might just see taken flat this weekend. We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Kimi Raikkonen's perfect lap yesterday sees him start from pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo, and Verstappen, Alonso, Grosjean, Hülkenberg, and Carlos Sainz. Van Dorn, Hartley, Marcus Ericsson, and Gasly, Perez, Ocon, the Professor, and Kevin Magnussen. They've taken a grid penalty. Leclerc and Lance Stroll rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Keep your eyes open on the run to turn 1 and keep it clean. We want to come out in one piece. Good luck.
Yeah, this race will certainly be damage limitation on the whole. That in terms of race strategy, well, obviously this car is going to be terribly slow around this circuit, so we are just going to try and gamble it on a one-stop here, go the mediums, then on to the softs. If it works out, then it works out. If it doesn't, well, then we haven't really lost out all too much. Actually starting though P17 for this race with a few penalties again. There are quite a few people surprised with how many penalties have already been served by the AI in the early stages of this season here. And it's 5 lights on the grid, ready for the Spanish Grand Prix, and it's lights out and away we go. They're catching me by surprise and also getting off to an absolutely dreadful start. Now the medium tyres, obviously relative to all the soft and super soft runners, we're never going to get off to a particularly good start, but just absolutely tons of wheel spin as we move in towards turn 1 though. Obviously, as Jeff said, keep it nice and clean and tidy through the first couple of corners there. Marcus Ericsson has been spat out into the wall there. Very, very unfortunate for him. After last week out, obviously he was able to score his best result so far of the season as we come through turn 3 though, and just all over the back of Charles Leclerc at this early stage of this race. Even as we run a little bit wide there, just costing myself a little bit of momentum, and these first few laps are going to be very, very tough in a bid to try and keep up with the AI. This Williams car is definitely the slowest car around this circuit on the whole. You know, Lance and I both really, really struggling for pace and rhythm here, and as you can see by lap 4 of the Grand Prix, well, you can see by the mini-map, Lance Stroll is dropping away from the rest of the field, and obviously me on 2 stages obviously of harder compound tyres, we are dropping away from him as well, which is really, really not ideal on the whole. Breaking now down in towards turn 1 there, as you can see, with just, well, there's just very little pace in this Williams. Now, as I said before the race, this was going to be a very, very testing one. As you can see now, by lap 6, Lance has actually picked up a bit of damage. I'm not too sure whether he had a bit of a battle with one of the Force India cars there, but yeah, that's going to leave me moving up into P18 now of this Grand Prix. That is really, really depressing to say on the whole. P18 is certainly not where we want this Williams car to be, but a few drivers are now starting to make their first pit stops of the day, very, very early in my opinion there, as you can see, actually coming out just between Max Verstappen and Nico Hülkenberg there, and everyone will have to make at least one more pit stop in this Grand Prix. But yeah, as you can see, we've pretty much lost a pit stop already in the opening 6 laps of this race, which is really, really frustrating to see. Hülkenberg though, a couple of laps later, all over the back of me now, as you can see, just flying past me down the front straight. A few more drivers though opting to make their pit stops. Are going to come out alongside Fernando Alonso here on the run towards turn 1. Are we going to be able to hold it around his outside? He thinks about trying to keep the nose there, but we do swing it right around the outside of the Mclaren driver there. Very, very happy with that little overtake, because I don't think we'll be getting many overtakes done over the entirety of this race, but it didn't take Fernando long, because just look at how OP the cars are down the straights. He's he's tried to dive bomb me there into the third sector there. But yeah, we're just able to hold it ahead of him there. Make a little bit of a mistake over that curve there and just cannot keep the car anywhere near the apex there. So Fernando Alonso, that is going to be a wide open door for him. Squeezes me out a little bit over the curbs there, but he will now move up into P13 of this Grand Prix there, as we've got his fellow Spaniard and also his McLaren replacement for 2019 there, Carlos Sainz, just behind him as we come out of the final corner. Carlos Sainz, I mean, much better run. Obviously, the slipstream, the DRS, and the AI just being a bit OP means that, well, they're just going to be much quicker there. Grosjean flies past me as well. He tries to have a sniff of the inside of Sainz in towards turn 1 there. That gets all very congested. But really, from then to about lap 18, it was pretty much just driving by myself. Charles Leclerc and Van Dorn actually closed up quite a bit to me as well. But there was, yeah, just no real sort of battles, you know. We were really just in our own race here. One of those weird sort of races where you just find yourself on your own strategy for most of it, and you just end up where you end up, in all honesty there. But happy overall with the first stint. I think we are still going to be ahead of Lance, as he's actually made his final pit stop of the day as well. So we will come out with about a 10-second lead over Lance. It'll be interesting to see how well the tyres fare towards the end of this race. But on to lap 20 though. Ocon just pitting in there, and he was actually the car that was basically ahead of me in this race and on raw pace. And, well, he's going to be miles out ahead of me still, which is a little bit frustrating to see. The only other driver, obviously, behind myself and Lance was actually Marcus Ericsson, obviously, after that crash on lap 1. And then we also had Lewis Hamilton had retired in this Grand Prix. Ocon, we do actually, in fact, come out just ahead of him here as we come out down towards turn 1 there. So we will have one place that we can, you know, potentially try to defend for these last few laps there, but making a bit of a mistake one lap later as we come out of the final corner. Well, Ocon is not going to take him too long until he's going to fly past me there. The team oddly want me to pit again. We will certainly not be doing that, but yeah, Ocon straight past me. No real point in trying to defend from him on the long run down towards turn 1 there. And really, that was pretty much the last of action we saw of another car that we were actually battling with in this race. Very frustrating there, very boring, almost like Bahrain even, where we just tried to bring the car to the end and claim as many R&D points as we could there. Lap 29 though, and well, we got lapped by Kimi Raikkonen here. This was, well, it was quite sad on the whole. You see Lance Stroll about 9-8 seconds behind me still, and well, we've both been lapped. By the end of the race, we were actually the only two drivers to get lapped as well. But Kimi Raikkonen leading the race, he's had a very strong showing out today as well there, so merits to him in that Ferrari car. But then, yeah, on the final lap though of this Spanish Grand Prix, unfortunately, as I said, not much action. Unfortunately, I'm sure we'll just get races like that over the course of this season. Now, Kimi Raikkonen will come through though to win the Spanish Grand Prix, his first race victory of the season, with Sebastian finishing second there. Sebastian Vettel has not finished outside the top 2 so far this season, and I think all the other really sort of championship challengers have all had at least one retirement there. But out of the final corner, it's only going to be P17 in the Spanish Grand Prix.
Well done, good finish. You stepped up and achieved what we asked. Good job.
That's a fantastic performance from Ferrari. It hardly looked in doubt. So, Ant, how exactly did they set themselves apart from the pack today?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
And now it's time to wind down and celebrate after that fantastic Grand Prix. Here they come, your top 3, out onto the podium. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It's a good result for Sebastian Vettel, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Now then, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
Let's give it to Kevin Magnussen. That was a commanding performance today, very impressive indeed.
And here's how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari extend their lead at the top of the championship. After all this drama, you'd be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
So there we are then, the end of the Spanish Grand Prix. As you can see, Raikkonen ahead of Vettel, with Verstappen actually getting a podium there ahead of Bottas. Alonso doing very well in P5, with Grosjean 6th, Ricciardo 7th, Magnussen 8th, Sainz and Hulkenberg round out the top 10 for Renault there, with Sergio Perez, one of the only other drivers to actually go on a one-stop there. P11, Van Dorn, Gasly, Charles Leclerc still not able to score a point in this season as well, with Brendan Hartley, with Ocon, then obviously us two in the Williams, Ericsson, and then Hamilton, the only driver to retire. In terms of the Drivers' Championship, well, Seb has now once again pulled out a one-race victory over Valtteri Bottas there. Raikkonen now up to P3 after Hamilton's retirement there, his second of the season there, all the way down on 51 points, with Verstappen just behind him, Ricciardo in P6, with Hulkenberg still best of the rest. Alonso moves up into P8 there, with Ocon and Perez dropping down, Grosjean moving up to P11, Sainz, Van Dorn, and then Magnussen jumping me, Ericsson, Pierre Gasly, and then Charles Leclerc, Brendan Hartley, and Lance Stroll all yet to score points in this season there. So interesting, you know, how it's sort of shaping up overall. Obviously, Sorokin is the only driver in real life without points, and well, technically I've taken his slot for this F1 2018 season. In terms of the constructors, Ferrari pull away at the top there, Mercedes sort of solidify themselves in P2. Renault starting to pull a little bit clear of Force India there, as McLaren make big gains in that race, and then really just the bottom three teams just falling away from the rest of the field there. But there we are then, that was the Spanish Grand Prix.
Good day today. Tell us about it from your perspective.
I wouldn't call it a good day, in all honesty. You had a close battle with Lance Stroll, didn't you? We're both pushing each other to be the best drivers we can be. I think we'll go with that one, you know. Get all chummy with
It must be gutting
Lance.
to miss out on a podium due to penalties. Do you think it was the right call by the officials?
Not too sure what that question is. I think being a lap down and not having a single penalty is really not really having an effect
well, that's everything.
on that question. So a bit of a weird one by her. Unfortunately, it meant that my Williams reputation decreased as well, which I found very, very frustrating on the whole there. But yeah, we do still pull away once again of a Lance in the rivalry breakdown there. We could potentially wrap it up at the Monaco Grand Prix next time out. In terms of resource points, they're obviously not able to claim all too many from that race, but we will still make good progress towards our next upgrade on the car. 284 points, you know, that's alright on the whole, takes us to just under 300. But as I said, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If we can hit 100 likes on this episode, I will try to release Monaco later on today. But thank you all so much for watching. As I said, I can only apologise for a little bit of a boring race on the whole, but I will see you guys next time for the jewel in the Formula 1 crown, the Monaco Grand Prix.